Okay, now that you've achieved a successful calibration and you have a nice flat frequency response, you can still operate the head unit's tone controls and they will behave appropriately. Here's a nice treble boost. This one has a mid-range control, so we can apply a mid-range cut, for example, and you can see that that totally works just fine. Or a bass boost, a little bit high for our taste, but nevertheless the tone controls are fully functional. Another question that a lot of people have is, okay, you've set it at 3/4 volume, so you can't touch that volume control or the whole thing blows up or smoke comes out or it loses its mind or it freaks out. It's not true. In fact, if the customer prefers to operate the system with the factory volume control, that can certainly be done. You can simply bury the control somewhere in the installation or disconnect it entirely if you prefer, and the customer can operate the system using the factory volume control. What the customer might notice, and may or may not be okay depending on how it's implemented in the system, is that the frequency response can change somewhat at lower volumes because some of these factory systems apply a volume dependent correction effect. And that's usually a bass boost at lower volumes and maybe a slight treble boost. It's really not the end of the world. So if the customer wants to use his steering wheel controls and doesn't want the knob installed, that should never stop you from doing a CleanSweep installation. The only thing you can't do, absolutely, if you don't install the knob is use the aux input on the CleanSweep for an additional source. You'd have to interface any aux sources through the factory head unit at that point because this becomes your only volume control in the system. So it certainly isn't it shouldn't be a deal killer ever if the knob isn't desired in the installation for one reason or another, although it is the cleanest way to do it and gives you the absolute flattest frequency response. It's certainly not the only way to use a CleanSweep.